So may I now invite Ms. Elkadua to make a presentation.
I thank you, my lord. Ladies and gentlemen, now I think before I move on to the focus of my research, I think I should explain you what actually this research area means, because this concept of cyber warfare is fairly new to Sri Lankan context, because we are not likely to be a victim of cyber warfare or cyber attack, but just because this area, this jargon is new to Sri Lanka. We never expect that to happen to us. So I think I should explain why I choose this research area and some aspects relating to it. Well, if we go back in history, in 2008, during the Georgia-Russia war, actually during the South Ossetian war, before the armed conflict began, some of the South Ossetian, Georgian and Azerbaijani websites, government-controlled websites, was under an attack by an unknown source, so that none of them were able to retain the control over those websites for a particular period of time. Nobody knew actually how this happened. Some of the government authorities, they were under the view that this might be some sort of a technical failure. But later on, it transpired that this was the start of the Internet World War, sort of a digital Sarajevo, which means they were intentionally being attacked through the Internet. When I say intentionally attacked through the Internet, it seems very new. It seems impossible. How can an attack be launched through Internet? Or how can it be an attack of any sort? Ladies and gentlemen, actually what had happened was a virus was transmitted through the Internet, which took over the control of the government websites and which denied services which were being given by those government websites. It took the government authorities by surprise, because South Ossetia, Georgia, actually transformed to a web-based government, which actually sort of computerized all its services a couple of years ago. So this was a big surprise to them, because they were sort of denied control over these facilities for a couple of days. Now this ended without any human casualty or any damage to any property. And the next event occurred in 2009 during the North Korean missile, sort of activities, where the North Korean and American websites were sort of attacked, were jammed due to an attack which came from an unknown source. So all these events took the world by surprise, because see, there is an emerging forum, emerging arena, or an emerging means or method of warfare. What we know as warfare is something done using arms, be it by air, by sea or land, but that's what we know. Physical arms, physical warfare. But there is this invisible threat now emerging, that some people have predicted that the next world war would be a cyber world war, where you would not see any missile attacks, any nuclear attacks, any atomic bombs. You would not see Hiroshima or Nagasaki again, but you would see lot of severe loss caused not using these arms, but using the Internet. So the threat is there. Now, there's a lot of literature on this particular topic written by a lot of Western academics. But this particular concept is new to Sri Lanka. We are yet to touch upon it. So that's why I selected this particular area. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do is, since this particular concept of cyber warfare is new to international law, I'm going to try and reinterpret some of the existing principles in international law to see whether we can use those principles to regularize cyber warfare, in the sense to use those principles to determine the rights and obligations of the states in the context of a cyber warfare. So, this is the focus of the study, actually. What is cyber warfare? What kind of a threat it poses? And need for regulation, and use of force and cyber warfare, state responsibility in cyber warfare. Actually, I've selected a lot of international law principles to be reinterpreted, to be applied in the context of cyber warfare, but due to the restraint of time and all, I have selected these two principles in international law to be discussed in this particular presentation. That's use of force under international law and state responsibility under international law. Now, what is cyber warfare? Now, I have simply, it is an internet war, right? One state or group of persons or an individual using the internet to launch an attack against a hostile government, a state, or a group of people. Now, in this case, since our focus is on states, I'm going to discuss in that particular aspect. Now, using cyberspace to attack an enemy. That's what happened in South Ossetia. That's what happened actually in a North Korean incident, right? And recently, China was accused of trying to take down Google, right? And there's very recently accusations on Israel for trying to sabotage the Iranian nuclear project using a cyber worm, right? Sort of a virus. Now, these are sort of, I tried to come up with a couple of definitions myself, but I failed actually. So I tried to take some simple definitions which scholars who have done extensive research on the area have come up with. Hostile attack by one nation or hostile party against important information technology systems and networks of another. Neutralizing the enemy by launching computer-based attacks on critical national security and other infrastructure. What happened in South Ossetia or North Korea or what happened in Iran, allegedly, right? It's just an example. There was no human casualties. But, I emphasize the fact that it is very real threat because it is possible that a hostile government or an organization can use the internet to go beyond that actually, to cause human casualties, to cause damage to property. Now, if I may, I don't know whether it is professional to take such an example for a forum like this, but I think I can remember watching Die Hard 3. And in Die Hard 3, if you all have watched it, there's this, scenario where a group of people who are computer experts who tried to take down the whole American government system, all websites, all infrastructure, including physical and very important security infrastructure, using a virus or using certain technology and trying to take over the control of this infrastructure. So those days when I was watching it, I thought it's such a dream. Who could ever think of it? But believe me, it's happening. For the past couple of months, believe me, ladies and gentlemen, I've read at least 3 books which teach how to conduct a successful cyber war, how to conduct a successful cyber attack. So the threat is very real. People are getting ready. In US, of course, there has been a lot of conferences, right? Lot of books written, right? There are actually experts in the area who sort of see to the fact as to how to conduct a successful cyber war, a successful cyber attack, right? So the threat is real. We should get ready. Now, what sort of a threat it poses? As I told you, now, how can an attack of this nature cause threat? It's like this. For an example, a hostile foreign government, without sort of going to a declaration of war, without using much money on missiles or other sorts of weaponry, can very easily provoke a couple of individuals in the state, a couple of computer experts, couple of hackers, right, to hack in to another government's, a hostile government's website or a website controlling critical national security infrastructure like flight controls, for example, right? They can hack into a system and actually take down the whole system or take the control of the system and actually cause a damage which arms can cause.